Our Father, who art in heaven.
Wish I could be part of that world.
Say hello to my little friend!
3 times.
What's your name?
Okay.
Oh well, Hakuna Matata. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep on believing, the dream that you wish will come true.
Have you ever seen a movie that ends on a massive cliffhanger? Or is it a spin-off? What about the ones that make another decades later? Are they making it out of genuine passion, or is it just out of greed?
Stretch out with your feelings. Reach out with your feelings.
Please don't leave me. I love you. I love you.
Run away, Scar, and never return.
And never return.
You know, I'm not a massive fan of the whole process in the first place. Most of the time, I don't think they're necessary. Much of the time, the motivation is money. That is the bottom line. That's why you're getting that remake. That's why you're getting that sequel. And that is not a beautiful place to start when it comes to an artistic project.
Really, I think in many ways it's just capitalizing on what they know made money before. I really think it's a whole money-making device and maybe a little bit less creative.
The tale has been one that's inspired spin-off movies, a live-action musical, which is great, and even a prequel came out later on this year.
Let's not forget The Lion King, was a Broadway show, which is another, very different experience that Julie Taymor put together with these enormous puppets. And it was, again, a whole different spectacle.
If you're thinking about the Lion King remake, for instance, however wonderful it is to look at a lion over 90 minutes or whatever it is, there's not a lot of personality in that face, right? And those bodies, they move the way we expect. The trouble with being Disney is that you have to keep churning out content. You're under pressure to pump this stuff out, and it's not necessarily a personal project. It's not coming from some particular artist's desire.
I was remembering A.O. Scott, who's the very famous New York Times critic, decided that he was done reviewing movies about 2 years ago. And he's like, I can't watch another Marvel movie.
The Marvel Corporation or the Disney Corporation or whomever, well, we just need another one with Ant-Man, or we need another one because we haven't done a Doctor Strange for a while. I don't think that's a good place to start any artistic project. You don't have to take much from the original at all to make a beautiful remake or a beautiful sequel. It stands by itself as a compelling film.
I keep thinking about The Wizard of Oz and how the 1939 Wizard of Oz can't be anything else but The Wizard of Oz. You can make The Wiz, you can make a whole nother Wizard of Oz, but it'll never really be the same.
Like The Exorcist, which has such great word of mouth recognition. And that's what you want, I think, as a studio. You want people to have immediate recognition.
It's like snowflakes, right? You're never going to have the same thing twice for sure, but you can you can build upon it, or you can, again, with respect to True Grit, I mean, artistically, it's just so rich, and so full.
Well, I mentioned True Grit. I think that's a great one. Mostly because it still tells a really compelling story. The dialogue is fantastic, and the characters are good. But I also like Scarface a lot. Now, I like the original Scarface. It's a 1930s gangster movie, really good film. Howard Hawks directed it, I think. I always enjoyed Howard Hawks' movies. But yeah, I mean, the Brian De Palma remake with Al Pacino is just so over the top and melodramatic and grotesque, and it's a wonderful piece of cinematic grand guignol, and but it's a world away from the original.
David Lynch's Twin Peaks. Yeah, but so he did a whole series of Twin Peaks 25 years later, and it was fabulous. I mean, it was 25 years later. There's this line that Laura Palmer says to, I can't even remember now to who, but there's a moment where she's like, and in 25 years, something may happen, and then there's 25 years later that comes back out, and it's crazy. And it's like David Lynch has eaten some mushrooms and had a fantastic time with it.
Nostalgia's a beautiful thing, but you can't go back, can you? I mean, what's the old saying? You can't go home again. And that's what they're trying to do. And how can you recapture? How can you recapture what it felt like to be 7?
And nostalgia really implies an emotional connection, right? Not just a memory, but there's a visceral connection to it. And I think with some of these big gap sequels, you can have that, like, the Portuguese word is añoranza or something like that. It's like that real nostalgia where you're connecting, like almost physically in a way with it.